money on my mind, that's the only thing I'm thinking about, yeah. Day and night, did you try a begging in the singarare? The neta nekungorota, nekuchiva zvevamwe. I gotta do what a man's gotta do. Kuti life ive nane. Sakani no ifira, no ifira. You need to know ifira. Ifira mari. I'm farugara nechina na mai nambon fita chirumwarari kudengo kam.
ZBC Current Affairs, thriving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Enjoy real value online with TM Pick and Pay Click and Collect. It's time for the news.
It's just gone 8 o'clock and you're watching the main news. My name is Zain Jamon. Of course, it's a lovely evening to you, Joyce.
Well, good evening to you, Zain. A warm welcome to our viewers. My name is Joyce Mabika. Nobo Maungwa is on sign language.
And later on, Marilyn Gwena will be joining us from our Montrose studios. But we kick off this bulletin with our leading stories. The private sector imports over 1.2 million tons of grain, complementing government's drive to ensure food security.
Zimbabwe public entities' compliance to accountability surges.
In business, Fidelity Gold Refinery formulates measures to boost gold output.
In our leading sports story tonight, disqualified ZIFA presidential aspirants Themba Mliswa and Walter Magaya's appeal cases to be heard tomorrow.
We now give you the news in detail. Over 1.2 million tons of grain have been imported by the private sector as part of efforts to complement government's drive to avert hunger after the El Nino-induced drought which affected the summer cropping season.
The importation of maize continues with the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe in collaboration with the private sector, bringing in over 20,000 metric tons of maize on a monthly basis.
Long queues of truckloads and goods train wagons were spotted offloading imported grain at National Foods warehouses in Harare.
Basa rikufamba zvakanaka except ma challenges twekupinda munana BGT port matrucks anenge akawanda zvo, but most of the time we are managing kuti tikwanise kunge tichiloada nekuzotanga kufamba kuuya kuno.
Matruck ari kuuya akawanda, company yedu inofunga ine about 30 trucks. Saka tinongoya vamwe vachiofroda vamwe vachidzoka.
Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe assured the nation that a comprehensive plan has been instituted to ensure food security in the country, whether there is drought or not.
We got approval from government to import maize in October of 2023, and I'm glad to advise that we have now imported more than 1,250,000 tons of maize, mainly from South Africa and other South American maize producing countries. The maize we are importing is for livestock, feed, human consumption, into industrial use, both yellow and white maize. We are happy that the supply situation nationwide has always been stable.
As you have heard, it's 24 hours of loading and 24 hours of milling here, a development that demonstrates the private sector's commitment to complement government's efforts towards averting hunger. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News. Harare.
The Museum of African Liberation has taken delivery of artifacts donated to Zimbabwe by the government of Cuba. The artifacts were received by President Emmerson Mnangagwa's special envoy for the Museum of African Liberation, Ambassador Simbarashe Mbengegwi, in Havana, Cuba. The items include 2 tanks used in the Battle of Quito Coronaville in Angola, a military personnel carrier, 4 boxes of military regalia, historic documents, books, pictures and films. Let's get the details.
The Museum of African Liberation has taken delivery of artifacts and paraphernalia donated to Zimbabwe by the government of Cuba. The artifacts were received by President Emmerson Mnangagwa's special envoy for the Museum of African Liberation, Ambassador Simbarashe Mbengegwi, in Havana, Cuba. The items include 2 tanks used in the Battle of Quito Coronaville in Angola, a military personnel carrier, 4 boxes of military regalia, historic documents, books, pictures and films. Zimbabwe and Cuba enjoy strong ties forged during the Second Chimurenga, when the Caribbean island state supported nationalist freedom fighters. The Museum of African Liberation, a brainchild of the Institute of African Knowledge, INSTAC, is conceived as a monument to the epic struggle to liberate African people from European colonialism and apartheid. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The summer cropping season is progressing well in Mashonaland East Province, with farmers in Marondera district optimistic of good harvest.
The Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Water, Fisheries and Rural Development, Dr. Anxious Masuka, was in Marondera district of Mashonaland East this Thursday to assess the crop situation.
We are doing the provincial tours, ascertaining the crop condition to see whether the President, His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa's target of assuring this nation of food security and replenishing the strategic grain reserve will happen. With the expected and forecast good rains, we expect that the country will be able to feed itself perennially, away from the episodic and weather-determined escapades of the past.
Mashonaland East Province is doing well this summer if the prevailing situation at Kudenga Farm and Ziyengwa Homestead is anything to go by.
We're expecting about 10 tons worth of maize. We're looking forward to some rainfall to enhance that yield, and we pray that once these rainfalls come, we'll even surpass the 12-ton mark.
Chirongwa chepfumbudza ichi chakativandudza zvikuru zvokuti tinotenda president nekuunza kwawakaita chirongwa chepfumbudza. Tiri vanhu vaitodyawo sadza rekutenga tichitotenga kune vamwe, asi iko zvinezvi hatichadyi sadza rekutenga.
The local leadership is equally excited about crop situation in the area.
Vanhu vari kuteedza donzo rapresident vedu vaMnangagwa kuti mumwe nemumwe pamba pake ngaagone kuzvirimira chikafu chekuti adye nemhuri yake. Muno manengo Minister Taguta aiwa nzara hatisi kuchema.
Iwadi inotaridza unaku hwenhoroondo yekupiwa kwakaitwa vanhu minda. Saka ndaizokumbira kuti kana moenda mberi munoudza president kuti vanhu vaya vekwasvosve vaya nevamwe vavagere navo mudunhu ramambo nenguo aiwa vari kuita zvinhu zvamaona izva.
Government has supported both commercial farmers and small-scale farmers to improve national food security. Gerald Sasa, ZBC News, Marondera.
Well, it looks like the future is bright for the country in terms of food self-sufficiency. Now, Zimbabwe is set to harness the April to October Expo 2025 for Osaka to promote trade, tourism and investment for the country.
The international participants meeting for Expo 2025 for Osaka is currently underway in Japan, with representatives from various countries discussing final preparations for the global event. Commissioner General of the Zimbabwe Pavilion, Mr. Alan Majuru, says Zimbabwe is focusing on promoting tourism, trade and investment, which are important to the country's economic growth expectations.
This is our last meeting before the event starts on 13 April, and everything is going according to plan. I think the organizers are facilitating for us to put our best foot forward. And the good thing is we are putting in place a pavilion that will help Zimbabwe actualize its aspirations. And our focus is going to be on promoting tourism, trade, and investment.
He added that the global showcase will also provide a platform for the country to market brand Zimbabwe.
This is not only a place for us to look at trade, investment, tourism, but it's a place where we are going to use to sell our narrative. People need to know what is Zimbabwe, what are we doing, where are we coming from, and where we are going. But also, it's going to be a platform for us to learn international best practice so that we can see how best we can engage with our partners.
Expo 2025 Osaka will run from the 13th of April to the 13th of October this year under the theme Designing a Future Society for Our Lives, and is expected to attract millions of visitors from around the world. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Service is complying with the abolition of the death penalty after converting hanging gallows into a museum and radio broadcasting studios. Let's get more from the following report.
The gallows at Chikurubi Maximum Security Prison were initially used to execute offenders in the 1970s. The last execution at Chikurubi was carried out in 1979 before the gallows were moved to Harare Central Prison, where the hangman's noose was last used in 2005. In line with the recent abolition of the death penalty, the ZPCS is transforming the former hangman structures, commonly known as gallows, into a museum and radio broadcasting studios.
Chinotifadza sevanhu and sevagari vemuzimbabwe and zvikurusa semufundisi kuti president wenyika atora chidanho chekuti vanhu vanga vari mudeath sentence death sentence ibviswe kuitira kuti pakuendera mberi neupenyu tikwanise kubroadcasta tichibva panzvimbo iyoyo yaimbourayirwa vanhu.
What we have seen in terms of the facilities we have seen around, it's really ideal in that the building itself, the structure itself is ideal for broadcasting. You can actually do your radio broadcasting or even visual radio, which is ideal and modern.
Chikurubi Maximum Security Prison Officer in Charge Chief Superintendent Alfred Machingauta and ZPCS Commissioner General Moses Chovu Konke, the initiative aligns with the abolition of the death penalty.
Prison irikuda kutora advantage yekuti the gallows itwe monument, a national monument, so that people will come and visit.
Death penalty was abolished in Zimbabwe, so we have got the rooms which were being used to hang the convicts. But now what we are thinking to do is to turn them into museum, so that at least it remains a history in the country, in the organization, that people who would have not seen the gallows will also come and see the gallows.
Chikurubi Security Maximum Prison is home to more than 2,000 inmates, with 90% of them serving long sentences. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The conducive business operating environment created by the Second Republic is paying dividends, with a Marondera-based flour manufacturing company set to pour in $4 million United States dollars into its expansion project.
The company, which is the biggest and the only flour processing company in Mashonaland East, is embarking on an expansion project in the wake of a rise in demand and the conducive investment environment in the country.
We are installing a new plant that we are importing from Switzerland. It's got a capacity of 6,000 tons a month, which is going to complement the one that is existing now, which has a capacity of 1,500 tons. So the total capacity that will be having is 7,500. And this has been necessitated by the fact that our demand is high. We can't sufficiently supply our demand.
The government is excited about the development.
What is exciting about this expansion is the necessary GDP growth, more economic growth, more down industry activities and other value chains. Basically, we are also encouraging that it will then engage more of our local farmers, produce more wheat.
The new plant will have capacity to process 6,000 metric tons of wheat per month, a significant improvement from the current 1,500 metric tons. Gerald Sasa, BC News, Maronderang.
Indeed, a country is built by its very own. In our next report, Zimbabwe and Russia have reaffirmed commitment to strengthening existing bilateral ties through enhanced cooperation in key areas of development. This comes after a meeting between the head of the Republic of Tatarstan and the visiting Zimbabwean delegation in Kazan this Thursday.
A show of commitment to enhanced bilateral cooperation with Zimbabwe, the Rais of Tatarstan, Mr. Rastum Minakanov, welcomed the Zimbabwean delegation visiting Kazan on a technical cooperation mission. The meeting provided a conduit to explore further areas of cooperation between the Tatarstan region of the Russian Federation and Zimbabwe, from education, tourism, cultural development, as well as information communication technology, among other key sectors.
February last year, we have received an official invitation of the President of Zimbabwe, Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, to visit your country. So there's a big potential for the development of the connections with the companies from your country, but we need to exchange the business delegations as well so that the business can start their connections. And we will plan our visit to your beautiful country. As far as I have understood, you have visited the agro park.
Zimbabwe targets to build on an earlier visit to Kazan by Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga last year. Conversations initiated during this visit explored the possibilities to adopt modern agro-markets equipped with safe trading spaces. The visiting Interministerial Technical Committee is building on this pedestal to establish cooperation towards developing modern infrastructure that dovetails with sustainable development under the Build Back Better initiative. During the meeting with the Rais of Tatarstan, Head of Delegation Honorable Daniel Garwe outlined key areas available for investment.
Pleased to share that his tour follows a visit by the agro-industrial complex by the Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable General Retired Dr. C.G.D.N. Chiwenga, in February 2024. And pursuant to the above, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, has directed this interministerial delegation to further understand and appreciate your commendable initiatives in this sector, particularly looking at youth and women participation in economic development.
Zimbabwe is targeting to adopt the modern concept for agro-markets from Kazan to build on its response and recovery plan for Mbari Musika Traders Market, which was razed down by fire last year. Government is targeting to go beyond the current temporary structure to build a state-of-the-art agro-industrial market which will provide a modern facility for traders. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Kazan, Russia.
From Russia, we come back home and we focus on child safety as residents of Green Valley suburb in Goromonzi have expressed concern over the number of children who are drowning at a nearby dam. This comes after 7 children drowned in the dam between November last year and January this year. More from Festus Mukungurudze.
As the water flows swiftly over the dam wall from a height of more than 5 meters, the decorative artificial waterfall appears harmless, attracting the young and energetic for a quick swim behind the wall's deep waters. Located in Green Valley suburb of Goromonzi district east of Harare, the dam has become a death trap, with 7 children having drowned between November last year and January this year. The latest victim is a 16-year-old boy who drowned this Tuesday.
Vana vakaya vari 4 ndobva vatanga kudhigidha apo pamhiri apo saka vanozofamba nepachiwo apa kuya saka vachisvika pakona apo 3 vacho ndo vakauya 1 wacho ndiye akazojambira achiti ada kusobudira kuno saka nenyaya yekuti apapa ine mawidzi akanga aripo akarasika mepo yekuti achidzoka kwapinda nako ndobva anobudira pasi pemawidzi aya saka aimuvhara akada kuti abuda aimuvhara papasina potadi abude napo kusvikira azofira ipapo.
Maburitirwa anozoita ndo patiri kususpekta kuti pamwe injuzi iri kuita se iri kuvatora. Vana vari kutorwa vachidhidha, pavanoenda vachinodhigidha vachitamba vari kumvura ndo pavari kutorwa Vatu wese anenge atorwa akanyura hapana ari kudzoka ari mupenyu, vanoburitswa afa.
Dambudziko ratinaro nderekuti harisi kuuraya vana chete muno muGreen Valley, kutori nevana vanobva kunana Glenwood nevamwe vana vakatombofa kusero 7 pamusoro apo. Saka idhamu rekuti ragara rinongotorisanganisa vana vese, asi vazhinji vana vanoura vanoita zvokunzi vanenge vachingofungidzirwa kunzi vatorwa nenjuso. Asi dambudziko ratinaro nyangwe kuti kafunga kuti tibatsirwe chichemo chedu kuti dhamu rifenzwe inhau yekuti tine dambudziko remvura.
Dai paigona kufenzwa kana kuisa chikongereti chine reza waya zvekuti munhu akwanise kuyambuka achibva kunoko achienda kumhiri, nekuti kazhinji vana vedu vanozoshereketa vachifamba pamusoro pechidhemu ichocho, vamwe anotofamba achipusha bhara kana aine bhasikoro. Saka dambudziko zhinji nderekuti vana vacho vanoya kuti vachitiwina imo munomu, hatiri mukuona apo pakavhurwa pakachena apo ndo vanenge vachirova vanoti masama ava ekunyura pasi pemvura vachinobudira kumberi.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, drowning is one of the leading causes of death and injury, especially among children globally, with more than 236,000 lives being lost each year. Festus Mkongorose, ZBC News, Harare.
Very heartbreaking. Let us just come together and make sure that we know where our children are, their whereabouts at all times. Also, do get in touch with us on our social media platforms. That is at ZBC News Online, and we can comment and talk more on the issue. However, on a very sad note as well, heavy rains pounded Mutare this Thursday afternoon, leaving a trail of destruction in some suburbs. Mutare District Coordinator Mr. Tendai Kapenzi said no human life was lost, adding that Sakuba, Fen Valley and Fairbridge are among the most affected areas.
We've had areas affected by the recently received rains last night. Areas affected Fairbridge Park, Yevo and part of Murambi. We have trees falling on Jura halls, and about 50 houses had their Jura halls damaged by trees falling caused by the heavy rains. Also, we have the power lines which were also affected, but the Kipling Street in Fairbridge Park, this is where most damages is also occurred, and also we have scenarios of flooding being caused by blocked drainages and so forth. We have the city of Mutare and other stakeholders on the ground trying to resolve the situation through cutting off the trees in order to clear for vehicles to move in, and also clear the blockages. I'm very glad to say there was no loss of human life. It's by the grace of the Lord that there was no human life lost, and also no animal life. Currently, we are trying to mobilize the resources. Because some of these people, they also say they are trying to have access to their homes. They are being blocked to get to their houses. So this is what we are currently working on, and we are also doing an assessment on the ground, visiting these areas to see the extent of damage.
Well, sometimes it's said, saying that when the rains come, sometimes they come with some of these disasters. But we just pray that everyone just stays safe, and make sure that you listen to the radio, you watch the news, you go online and find out what's happening, so that you are always abreast with what's going on, and so that you stay safe. And if people need to move to other areas, then they hear it on those platforms.
Absolutely. You then stay updated with what is going on at that specific time.
Yes, speaking of platforms, if you're watching us from our Facebook page, let us know what you think about some of the safety measures that people can take during this rainy season. And also speaking of Facebook, we also want to say good evening to everyone who's saying good evening to us. Well, it is a pleasure knowing that you are watching from across the globe. Dixon Majaha says, we pray for a better summer cropping season, and we thank God for the current rains. We also pray for safety, that safety during this rainy season.
We also have Nicholas Bogosha, who says, good evening, Zimbabwe.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. And Tanaka Meza says, good evening. We're watching from Nyamapanda border post.
We also have Paul Guta watching from the Loveld in Chiredzi. We really value your viewership.
We value your viewership. Continue commenting on some of the news items that we are bringing to you. And somebody here says, we thank the government of Cuba for donation to the Museum of African Liberation. Cuba played a pivotal role in the liberation of many African countries.
Absolutely. What do we jump into next, Joyce?
Well, keep watching. Remember, we also have a website. Our website is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you can get in touch with us on our social media handles, that is at ZBC News Online.
Here are stories you can still expect ahead in this bulletin. In business news, gold continues to rack in more foreign currency inflows in the country.
In sport, disqualified ZIFA presidential aspirants Walter Magaya and Themba Mliswa cases on tomorrow.
Well, those are some of the stories to look forward to on this bulletin. We take a break. Stay with us for more news.
The Zimbabwe Tourism Authority is calling all operators of tourist facilities who have not registered or those with expired licenses and certificates to come forward and register their facilities in compliance with the provisions of Section 36 of the Tourism Act, Chapter 14, 20 of 1996 by 15 February 2025. According to Statutory Instrument Number 106 of 1996, categories of the tourist facilities that must be registered with the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority include but are not limited to conference organizers, restaurants, whether in hotel or otherwise, fast food restaurants, vehicle, bicycle, boat, bus hire, courier shops, tour operators, hunting operators, tour guides, non-hotel conference facilities and venues, travel agents including those online, accommodation including hotels, lodges, guest houses, camps and campsites, bed and breakfast accommodation, Airbnb accommodation, visitor attractions including game parks, farms, art galleries, visitor activities including golf, horse riding, bungee jumping, wedding venues, picnic or braai sports, open air function venues. All facilities that register or renew their licenses and certificates on or before the 15th of February 2025 will have no penalties charged. From the 1st of March 2025, the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, in conjunction with law enforcement agents, will be deployed to bring all unregistered facilities to book. For further information and assistance, please do not hesitate to contact us at the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority offices that are located across the country. Travel and experience Zimbabwe. Zimbo.
Crafted with the finest flavors, Cartwright's Wasabi Mix brings a hearty taste to every meal. Made for moments shared, for smiles around the table, and for the days when only a comforting bowl will do. Perfect for every meal, every time. Cartwright's Wasabi Mix. Every meal done right.
The Civil Registry Department would like to inform its valued clients and stakeholders that Chekutu District Office has been temporarily closed due to the devastating effects of the recent heavy windstorms. Members of the public are therefore advised to visit Norton Sub-Office and Kadoma District Office for the issuance of birth certificates, death certificates, and national identity documents. Chekutu Hospital Sub-Office will continue to facilitate issuance of burial orders. We apologize for any inconveniences this may cause and appreciate your understanding as we work towards repairing the building and restore full operations at the Chekutu District Office. Although the office is currently inaccessible, the department is committed to providing essential services to members of the public. In light of this, the office will attend to urgent cases only, particularly those related to school admissions. Civil Registry Department, caring for vital civil registration, events and travel documents.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We jump in our courts where business partners Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, who are facing charges of fraud involving 7 million United States dollars, have been denied bail by the High Court.
Another freedom bid by the GO has flopped, with Justice Pisrai Kwenda noting that the state's fears are justified as the two are likely to flee the jurisdiction of the court because they face a lengthy custodial sentence if convicted. He added that the pair is most likely to interfere with witnesses and evidence. Chimombe and Mpofu are accused of abusing 7 million United States dollars in a botched court scheme deal through their bogus company known as Black Deck Poultry. In his ruling, Justice Kwenda said facts are critical in any bail application, hence lawyers should not try to drag court proceedings. The GO is, however, challenging Justice Kwenda's decision with plans to appeal at the Supreme Court. Their trial is expected to continue on the 10th of next month. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwean consulate in Johannesburg is investigating the identities of Zimbabwean nationals who were trapped in the abandoned Stilfontein gold mine in the northwest province of South Africa.
More than 80 miners have been confirmed dead at an abandoned Stilfontein gold mine in the northwest province of South Africa. In a statement, Zimbabwe's envoy to South Africa, Ambassador David Hamadziripi, said the embassy is seeking to establish if there are any Zimbabweans among the 87 deceased individuals retrieved at the mine shaft, adding that there are plans to use DNA testing of relatives. Ambassador Hamadziripi also disclosed that there are 465 alleged undocumented Zimbabwean nationals who are undergoing a screening process in the South African Police Service custody. The situation at disused mine shafts in Stilfontein have been developing since August last year, when a small group of illegal miners emerged from the shafts. In November 2024, the Pretoria High Court ordered police to end a standoff with illegal miners and allow emergency workers to gain access to a shaft where hundreds were believed to be holed up.
We know a lot of guys here. They are our brothers, they are friends, they have kids. So we are trying our best we can to help them out.
I don't want to be a criminal. I don't want to steal some people's property or to rob people. I took a decision to take my own risk, to risk about my life and go to the abandoned shafts to get some gold, to earn living.
Illegal mining has flourished in South Africa in recent decades as many industrial mines have been exhausted. Reports estimate that there are about 30,000 illegal miners, widely known as Zama Zama, producing 10% of South Africa's gold output in 6,000 abandoned mine shafts, often controlled by criminal syndicates. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
May their families find comfort in these difficult times. However, speaking of comfort, the Geopomona Waste Management Project is on course, with the firm engaging a team of engineers from Turkey for critical installations of the waste sorting plant, a key component of the venture.
The Turkish engineers, who are experienced in setting up sorting plants in Middle East and European countries, have started installation works of the sorting plant at the Geopomona Waste Management site in Harare.
I welcome
for the build this project, and now we do it assembly to montage the conveyor, and we try to design and make a montage like the same project in Qatar, Dubai, in Serbia.
We want all the cities in Zimbabwe to have a similar process of sorting plant of waste management, how we manage waste the same way we are doing here in Harare.
Meanwhile, a technical team from the city of Mutare also toured the site after the mayor's visit last week, as they seek to come up with a similar project in the Eastern Highlands capital. The Geopomona Waste Management Project to generate up to 22 megawatts of electricity upon completion. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's now take you to the city of Kings and Queens, where we join Marilyn Gwenya from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo to give us the next stretch of the bulletin. A very good evening to you, Marilyn.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Jason Zain. And now in our following report, the successful rehabilitation of Gua Dam in Gua has renewed hope in a community that had gone for over a decade without water after their only source of the precious liquid was destroyed by a cyclone.
The sight of a huge dam wall filled with water to the brim at the once abandoned Gua Dam in Gua is evidence of close cooperation between government and the private sector. The project, rehabilitated at a cost of 600,000 United States dollars, has set the community, which was traveling long distance to get water, on a development pathway. Community members who are now planning to establish an irrigation project, a tourist attraction site and a fishery are convinced the project is true reflection of the Second Republic's inclusive development. Area Legislator Honorable Umpile Marupi, who is also the Deputy Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, engaged the Community Share Ownership Trust to rehabilitate the dam.
ra khona go iphedisa re bo nka ke motho a mosadi ke se ka phela ka go bantse ke kupa ke itrele se ka emela rona botate monga lelapa a be ena mphatshe
idamu leli seliphelile idamu leli selithemba ukuthi hayi kumbeni izulu lingaqeda umnyaka owodwa lingananga amanzi silawo
idamu lingaduki kwakuyi-green belt yempita yonke yonke yayitholakala khona so sesijabule kakhulu idamu leli khona ukuthi libe khona sijabule kakhulu ukuthi liphelile njalo selibamba amanzi selichitha inkomo lezifuyo sele seziyanatha.
With Matabeleland South under constant threat from drought due to climate change, the rehabilitation of the massive water body is seen as a permanent solution to the challenge.
This is one of those projects that I can say is the key projects in my constituency. This dam was washed away almost 12 years ago, and it has actually been in a sorry state, and the community around here had no source of water. We had livestock walking plus or minus 15 to 20 kilometers for water, and even the local communities, because there was no more water in this dam and the boreholes around, the water table had dropped, and now it has risen because of this massive dam.
Government is on a drive to build community resilience against climate change, with dams, drought mitigation centers and irrigation schemes being established. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gua.
Government is confident the deployment of dedicated tourism officers at all the country's major ports of entry will be completed this year.
The deployment of dedicated tourism officers at Zimbabwe's ports of entry is part of ongoing efforts to enhance the visitor experience and drive growth in the sector. A pilot program dubbed Meet and Greet saw government officials and Zimbabwe Tourism Authority personnel being deployed at major entry points to welcome visitors during the festive season. Building on this success, the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Barbara Rodzi, told ZBC News in Victoria Falls that the Public Service Commission has approved the deployment of permanent officers.
In 2025, we're going to do that. So we've been waiting, as you know, that we've been a new ministry on our own. Through PSC, there's a process that has to be done to ask for more officers to be on board, and to give a structure to PSC and to approve it. Now it's all approved, and I'm sure through ZTA we'll have officers in 2025 at every port of entry of the country.
Experts believe this initiative, combined with ongoing infrastructure development and targeting marketing campaigns, will significantly enhance Zimbabwe's appeal to travelers worldwide. Zimbabwe is actively working to reclaim its position as a premier African safari destination. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The mining town of Shoku has received a facelift after the commissioning of a new hotel, which also functions as a tourism training school.
The latest development, which has transformed the Sebanga area just outside the town of Shoku, is in line with the National Tourism Growth Plan spearheaded by the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority ZTA.
It's an exciting development for us in terms of new infrastructure, in terms of job creation, in terms of perception when it comes to Shoku as a destination.
The Second Republic's mantra, Zimbabwe is open for business, was the driving force behind the proprietor's desire to make a difference in society.
Tinoona chiri chitiko chakanaka. Takutarisa area ine, it was a residential area, but we changed it to a commercial, meaning to say, kuno chatova chivako chasimudzira chero nevavakidzani.
Leader of Zion Christian Church, ZCC, Bishop Nehemiah Mtendi, who also graced the official opening ceremony, urged investors to take advantage of the peace and tranquility obtaining in the country and come up with meaningful development for posterity.
It's okay, very good diaspora wakomana, muiti impao nyika yenyu, muite ma first investors in your country, and vari kushereketa vachiita ma investment all over this country. We welcome such things. But they must understand, you must be honest to your country, honest to your church, honest to your community.
Government is equally excited by the new developments, which feeds into the National Development Strategy 1.
Today's event underscores the Second Republic under the leadership of our #1 farmer, the President and the First Secretary of ZANU-PF, Head of State and Government, SADC Chairman, His Excellency the President of the Republic, Comrade Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa's development philosophy that recognizes the importance of supportive modern infrastructure, role of private sector in socio-economic transformation, and the need to empower our indigenous people in spearheading innovation, industrialization, and modernization of the economy.
Since the inception of the Second Republic, Zimbabwe has witnessed massive infrastructure development, including construction of roads, new schools, and clinics. Tafarach Kumira, ZBC News, Shoku.
And that's it for myself, Marilyn Gunya, and the Montrose crew for tonight. Main news continues from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare, where Joyce is on standby. Joyce, it's back to you.
And thank you, Marilyn, and our crew at our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. We continue. Zimbabwe has recorded over 70% increase in public entities' compliance with accountability regulations for the benefit of economic planners. The details from Stanley James.
A public entities corporate governance compliance assessment survey report released to state-owned enterprises executives at a gender mainstream in public entities workshop in Harare this Thursday reflects that most of the utilities are holding annual general meetings, producing financial and strategic plans on time. Executives of the public entities reviewed a commitment to accountability systems.
It is important that we publish public accounts, we hold our AGMs, people are aware of how much has been collected and whether our systems are risk-proof, and so we have to be accountable.
From our strategic planning to our governance structures,
we ensure that we embrace gender inclusivity so that we have a diverse set of skills that improves our performance as an entity.
The public sector is being commended for policies to facilitate gender inclusivity.
If you look at the public sector, you find that the ratio of women chief executives and board members is really increased, although we're still far from the 50-50. But compared to the private sector, I think we've made a lot of progress in Zimbabwe.
A release of financial statements is expected to bolster confidence.
There's been a good positive outcome in terms of compliance. And also you'll notice that our public entities have started conducting annual general meetings, which is a statutory requirement in terms of the Public Entities Corporate Governance Act. We have seen a surge in terms of compliance in that respect.
The Compliance Assessment Survey report indicates that accountability is key towards improving service delivery. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back with you shortly.
Everybody needs a little time away. I heard her say from each other. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise
every heart is the dream of greatness. Football is more than a game. It is hope. It is unity. It is the future. Every journey starts with a single kick.
As a dedicated and passionate individual, I, Nobile Magwizi, am ready to lead Zimbabwean football into a new era. My transformative agenda is built on uniting stakeholders, restoring integrity, and fostering grassroots talent. I firmly believe every player deserves a chance to shine.
From our humble beginnings to dreaming on the global stage, we know that talent must be nurtured and dreams deserve to flourish.
That's why I'm asking for your vote to become the president of the Zimbabwe Football Association.
It's time to focus on the goal. Together, we can restore pride, nurture talent, and create a lasting legacy for future generations.
Vote for me, Nobile Magwizi, and let's transform Zimbabwean football together.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Innovation is driving development in Mashonaland Central Province, with indigenous materials being used to provide solutions to local challenges. This emerged during a media tour of projects undertaken by government officials in Mashonaland Central Province this Thursday. Let's get more from the following report.
Mashonaland Central Province is riding on a wave of development ushered in by the Second Republic in various sectors such as education, manufacturing and mining, among others. At Pindura University of Science Education, Buse, students and staff welcomed the creation of an innovation hub that is driving value addition of natural products and manufacturing of information communication technology ICT gadgets.
The Innovation Hub has provided facilities which is enabling us as citizens of Zimbabwe and also residents of the province to be creative to build things and grow our ideas into tangible things.
From the Innovation Hub, I got to have a chance to experience a hands-on practical. Because during lessons and lectures, we only learn the theory part. So the Innovation Hub has given us an opportunity to develop and enhance our skills on hands-on.
Indigenous products are being processed to make food, health and beauty care products for the benefit of local consumers, while the optometry clinic established in 2023 is open to the public.
We are taking advantage of some of our natural indigenous products that we have in Zimbabwe, adding value and producing products which can solve everyday problems. For example, we have things made with baobab oil, ziziphus, which is your masao, which are indigenous here to our Masonal Central.
Now we have people coming from as far as Bulawayo to come and seek services here. Why would people come from these far away areas coming to serve? One is that you come here, they look at your eyes and everything, you get your prescription, and in a day or two, the spectacles are out.
The nation has adequate fertilizer supplies for its flagship Fumvudza Intwasa program, and this was evidenced at FSG, which has become a prominent employer in Bindura.
Tinoshanda for 24 hours. Tinema plants matatu. Ino yatiri yatinoti new plant in a capacity 300 tons per shift.
Providing safe water, improving hygiene and sanitation is a major priority of the Second Republic, with President Emmerson Mnangagwa commissioning Geomant Chemicals in October 2023. The plant was running at full throttle during the day's visit.
The next phase as a company that we are looking at is the export market. Our production capacity is far exceeding the demand locally.
The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Jen van Mswere, who led a media tour of the Buse Innovation Hub, Optometry Clinic and Students Accommodation Facilities, FSG, Geomant Chemicals and Ren Mine, summarized the success stories witnessed as a deliberate effort to create employment and generate more local revenue.
The Mashonaland Central Provincial Media Tour includes the following. The facilities at the Bindura University of Science Education, as we are all aware that in terms of Vision 2030 and in terms of the National Development Strategy 1, human capital development is one of our priorities. One of our priorities in order for us to be able to propel and accelerate achievements across all sectors of our economy. We all are aware that the mining sector pre-2017 had a contribution of around and a size of around $3 billion. And this, under the leadership of President E.D. Mnangagwa, we now have a plus $15 billion mining sector in terms of the contribution to our GDP. In terms of finance and mathematics, we know that fertilizer contributes in terms of the cost of production, in terms of agriculture, plus 50%. So by virtue of establishing this fertilizer plant, we are then in a position to cut down on our input bill, which is a plus in terms of employment creation. If you import more, it means you are exporting the jobs. So it works the other way around. So all these success stories under the leadership of President E.D. Mnangagwa indicate a growth strategy which has improved in terms of our current account, which was also ensured that we are now in a position to tame inflation. There is no volatility in terms of the currency because we are producing the goods. Because the major priority is not only being production, but productivity.
Mashonaland Central Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Christopher Magomo, weighed in saying the province is focused on increasing its contribution to the national gross domestic product.
What we are going to witness going forward here is economic transformation at its best, where the new dispensation is fighting very hard to make sure that every one of us is at an upper middle income level by 2030. Where we do that by also following or trying very hard to make sure that we work within the pillars of the NDS 1, which is soon going to be ending to NDS 2 by end of 2025.
Mashonaland and Central Province will get an opportunity to showcase its rich agriculture scene, which has benefited from government's land reform program, as the media shifts focus to agriculture this Friday. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Pindura.
Mashonaland Central, another success story when it comes to developmental projects, are being spearheaded by the Second Republic. Let's now shift our attention to business news. A Fidelity Gold refinery has come up with measures meant to boost gold output and achieve the projected target of 40 tons by the end of the year.
In a statement made by the country's sole buyer of the precious metal, Fidelity Gold Refinery shows that output of the yellow mineral is expected to reach 40 tons in 2025 from 36.5 tons in 2024.
In the year 2025, our target is 40 tons. But then you'll find out that in the year 2024, we received a total of gold deliveries amounting to 36.5 tons. The increase of gold deliveries, if we compare the year 2023 and the year 2024, are basically because of favorable government policies that were put in place which supported the gold mining industry.
Mechanisms are currently in place to ensure the reduction of gold leakages.
Currently, as Fidelity Gold Refinery, we are implementing what we call a mine-to-market system, traceability system. This system traces gold from the mine to Fidelity Gold Refinery and Fidelity Gold Refinery to the international market. This is in line with international market trends and promotes responsible sourcing as well as curbing gold leakage.
Zimbabwe's upward trend in gold production has sparked optimism about a surge in foreign currency inflows, as gold continues to be the country's primary source of foreign exchange earnings. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
And that's our business update. Taking us to a break, join Anna Shemrombedzi in the Sports Corner when we return.
Maranatha Junior School, which is also a boarding school, has two campuses in Tinwald and the other in Kadoma. The schools offer all primary academic subjects inclusive of Chinese as a foreign language, ICT, and gymnastics. The schools boast of well-equipped ECD play centers. Maranatha Junior School offers a wide range of extracurricular activities covering both traditional and modern sports. Maranatha Junior School has embraced the heritage-based curriculum for ZIMSEC, whilst at the same time it is a Cambridge examination center. Our motto is building strong character, instilling entrepreneurial skills.
Get your business ready for the festive season with ZBC. Join us for the ZBC Mega Festive Business Promotion running from the 1st of November of 2024 all the way to January 31 of 2025. Enjoy an incredible cash discount of over 50% across all ZBC platforms. This is your opportunity to make your business shine. So celebrate with ZBC and watch your business thrive by simply booking your spot right now. For more information, call Tandeka on 0719 594 426 or Martha on 0719 593 532 or Precious on 0719 593 510 or email tandeka.mubi@zbc.co.zw. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shambrombets here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, the Bulawayo High Court has transferred to Harare an urgent appeal for an interdict on ZIFA elections by disqualified presidential aspirant Themba Mliswa.
The legal counsel representing Mliswa, Advocate Msindo Hungwe, told ZBC News after appearing before Justice Angoni Nduna that the case has been referred to Justice Tawanda Chitapi, who is handling another case involving ZIFA and the disqualified presidential aspirant Walter Magaya of Yada Football Club.
We are hoping and anticipate that we should be able to get an audience before Honorable Justice Chitapi within 24 hours or so, but we will be guided by his diary, of course, and he would advise us, I believe, through registry as and when he's ready to hear us. But as it stands, the matter stands postponed and stands stood down to Harare before Honorable Justice Chitapi.
The two cases will be heard at Harare High Court on Friday. Mliswa, once the elections are postponed, argues that he was disqualified by a flawed process which was full of illegitimate delegates who adopted a new constitution. The Magaya and Mliswa cases follow similar redress efforts filed at the Court of Arbitration for Sport CASA by disqualified former footballer Benjamin Mwarwaru and an aspirant for the vice presidency, Gift Banda. Lawrence Tusera, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe Football Association ZIFA vice presidential candidate Loveness Mukura is confident she has what it takes to lead the local football motherboard to greatness if elected on the 25th of this month.
A former captain and chief executive officer at Rentals Queens, Mukura has been a stalwart in women football. Currently serving as the board member, finance in the Women Premier Soccer League, Mukura has a strong academic background. She holds a Master of Science in Strategic Management from Chinhoyi University of Technology, a Master of Science in International Relations, and a Bachelor of Science Honours degree in Political Science from the University of Zimbabwe. Mukura's vision is centered on developing grassroots football, promoting transparency and integrity, and supporting women's football.
I've had a lot of exposure on how best we can help women football get cognizance. I think it also goes back to the issue of funding. Women football is under-resourced, so I would make sure that we unlock the revenue resource that is supposed to be unlocked, first of all, by making sure that we partner with FIFA, for example. We partner with a lot of sponsors. That is, we market the brand for women football very well so that sponsors can also come in. And with the help of FIFA grant, I'm sure that we can be able to take women football to another level.
Mukura will face stiff competition from other candidates, including former Caps United administrator Joyce Kapota, former women's football chairperson Mavis Gumbo, MSU administrator Patience Mutuma, and Northern Region Vice Chairperson Keno Owinet Muropa. The ZIFA elections are set for the 25th of this month.
The Zimbabwe senior rugby team, the Sables, have regrouped ahead of a crucial year that will see the World Cup qualifiers being played in July.
Zimbabwe have kicked off their preparations for the 2025 Rugby Africa Cup, which will act as the Rugby World Cup qualifiers. The Sables are the African champions, and if they retain the trophy in July, they will qualify for the 2027 Rugby World Cup.
Good to be back, good to have the band back after a well-deserved break. I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running. We've had 2 sessions so far this week that have gone very well. This part of the season, we're looking to just do a lot of work in the gym, and then as time goes on, back onto the field. But I think it's a great time for the guys to throw some weight around, gain a bit of muscle, gain a bit of strength, and then look forward to what February has in store for us.
Zimbabwe last ate the World Cup in 1993, and they have lined up friendly matches to get a game time before they can go to Uganda for the qualifiers. The Sables are set to play Zambia and Botswana, as well as in the South African domestic competitions, as they aim to face a stiff competition. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
That's it from the Sports Corner. Now let's take a look at the weather.
evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to the tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. With a bit of rain showers over much of the western parts as well as the southern parts, where Kokwero currently 55, 46 into Maranda, Cholocho at 32 by this morning. And these two systems were over the northern parts and the southern parts of the country, giving us rain showers over those areas, which were a bit thundery in places. However, our system to watch is coming in over the southern parts of the country, where it's drying out much of the southern areas, and it should dry out much of Matabele and south into Masvingo as we move out of the weekend, but it should bring with it a bit of sunshine as well. But for tomorrow, we're expecting it to be rather cooler over the southern areas, where temperatures are expected to drop slightly over the southern areas, where we're seeing 19s over most areas, few 18s thereabout, but for Bulawayo it's also at 19 by Friday, but it warms up as we get into the weekend. Same for Matopo, 19 at first, but goes up to about 20, 30 for Gwanda by a Sunday thereabout, but a bit of sunny breaks as well expected there. Pani to the north is mostly cloudy with rain showers. Same for Victoria Falls as well, where we're expecting a bit of thunder weather in places. Okwero, it rises from 19 to about 25 from Friday into Sunday, and for Kwekwe we're expecting warmer conditions as well as we get into Sunday thereabout. For Kadoma, it's slightly warmer, but a bit of thundery weather projected there. Chinoi at 27 on Sunday, and with a bit of rain showers. Harare also projected to have a few rain showers as moisture is drifting back into the northern parts of the country. For Masvingo, it should be cooler tomorrow, but warmer as we get into the weekend. For Bindura, we're expecting a bit of sunshine here and there, but for Marandra, it should be generally cloudy and cool for much of the period with a few rain showers. Nyanga also projected to have the same with thunder weather into the weekend. And with that, we wish you a pleasant weekend ahead. I'm James Kuma Jr. for the Met Department.
Thank you, James Ngoma Jr., for giving us the way of the weather in that. Putting a cap on tonight's main news. From all of us here, it's good night.
Good night.
Thank you once again for joining us on this special episode of State of the Economy, where we address issues that have to deal with the economy of Zimbabwe. And of course, of particular interest is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. And we'll be looking at what happens within the ministry and how it impacts the economy of the country. I'm Justin Mahlatla, and I'm joined today by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Emon Murwira. Professor, it's a pleasure having you on this program.
Thank you, Justin.
Wonderful.
I'm very happy to be here.
Great, and compliments of the new year.
Same to you. Thank you.
Now let's start with the most significant achievements in the Foreign Affairs and International Trade arm that you lead as a minister. What have you achieved as a ministry?
The national objective of Zimbabwe is to establish a free, democratic society that has people that are prosperous, have happy and fulfilling lives. And this you find in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, Section 8. This is the basis that was used, or that is being used by His Excellency to formulate his vision, starting with Vision 2030 of reaching an upper middle income economy where people are prosperous, happy and have fulfilling lives. So this is the cardinal point to which we navigate to. So what has happened is that using this objective, we have developed several capability pillars in order for us to reach that national strategic intent. The first of all is local production. Because trade, you trade with something that you produce. And it's a very important, it might be simplistic, but a very important issue. That's why His Excellency then says, first of all, nyika inovakwa neve nevanhu. ilizwe lakiwa ngabanikazi balo, calling us to work into local production. And then the next is therefore to encourage international trade, where we gel into markets, regional, continental, and worldwide, where we are encouraging that trade. Zimbabwe, when the Second Republic came in, I think he had a GDP of about 16 billion. But now we are over 50 billion in terms of our GDP. That's not a mean movement. That's a swift movement within the past 7 years of the leadership of His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. You will see that in terms of facilitation of international tourism, making destination Zimbabwe, facilitating through our embassies and tourism